Today, we're gonna go back in time. Today, we're gonna go back to a time, which I've already said, and fucking, oh yeah, games. Old school games, the retros are coming. Well, hide your wives, hide your kids, it's go time.
Hey! Time to play the game! Hey!
Hello and welcome back to Years of Payne, the real gaming history. Today we're gonna have another special. And I make all this like special because it's not in the timeline. And it's like, I don't know, it's like its own thing, its own kind of history. So today I'm gonna talk about what I'm just gonna call the retros, or the old school consoles. Basically every console I did not buy in stores. Consoles are bought used. Now, to kind of fit this into the timeline, I started collecting old consoles after the PS2, GameCube, Xbox, and before I went on to PC. Like I said, after having those three consoles, the three main consoles of that generation, I kind of went outside and tried out new things. And it all kind of started off with something different. They actually had a Sega Saturn at the kind of shady store we always went to. I talked about that one the last time, so we went there, and he had a Sega Saturn with a couple of games, and I looked at that and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should get that. But at the time, my best friend, who was like, I want it. I'm like, bruh, calm down. So he didn't have enough money with him, and I was like, I'm gonna come back tomorrow, please save it up for me. And right then and there, I was being a bro, because I could have taken it easily. I could have just taken it from him, because I was looking at it but he was like so fucking over the top. Okay, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna let you have this one. But as it goes with big boys and their toys, after he had one, I really wanted one as well. Ha! Kids. But seriously, I don't know. Playing the thing, it just came like, oh man, maybe I should have taken it from him after all. But still, I want it. After that, I kind of wanted a Sega Saturn for the novelty. And like I said, I was kind of looking into making a collection slowly. And I had never played Sega Saturn before, and I had actually never played a Sega console before. I was always Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube. I never had a Sega. I never played on a Sega. Never had friends who had a Sega console. So the Saturn was probably an odd choice, but still, I mean, he got his, and he really got involved in this whole building a collection thing. So he actually started reading the newspapers and all the little announcements somewhere on, I want to say the internet, but I don't think the internet was that big of a feature back then. I mean, there was internet, and I remember looking some things up on the internet, but it was still, it's not like today where you rip out your smartphone and you look it up and you're like, oh, okay, there. No, you didn't have that. But anyway, doesn't matter. Point is, he looked up like newspapers where people would sell consoles, and surprisingly, there was quite a bit here in Luxembourg. His dad drove us to a place, and I don't know what he bought from those people. I think he bought also something. But basically, I got my Sega Saturn. And here we go with the visuals again. It's a Sega Saturn. That's what it looks like. So, yeah, Sega Saturn. What do I got to say about Sega Saturn? It's not good. I mean, on itself, it's not a terrible console. The console's alright. It just doesn't have any games for it. When you think Sega, you think Sonic, right? You think like, but this thing didn't have a Sonic. The only exclusive Sonic it had was Sonic R, and that game is shit. That game is terrible. I mean, you've heard about it. I don't need to talk about it. I don't have it. I played it at my friend's house who had the fucking Saturn before me, and he bought Sonic R, and man. They don't even talk about the controls. They say the controls are shit. But you know what? The default controls, I don't know if you could change them. I don't think so. But the default controls for Sonic R on Sega Saturn was, how do you accelerate by pressing up on the D-pad. You press up on the D-pad. How do you steer? With the D-pad. If you're pushing up, you get it, right? If you're pushing up on the D-pad, how do you want to go left and right? You don't. I mean, you kind of do. You're kind of like, fucking that game. That game is terrible. They talk about the shitty music, but I thought the music for like a Sega Saturn game, for like early then, having like a full-fledged soundtrack was cool. But that's about it. But anyway, I didn't even have the game, so that's not really my story. That's just Sonic R. I mean, every time you hold one of these, I guess you gotta talk about it. And then I got this, smelling like cigarette. It doesn't anymore, but yeah, these people who sold it to me were like, I mean, it's at least it looks good. There's no scratches on it and everything. And I got like 2 controllers that weren't even fucking Saturn controllers, some third party, which are okay. I mean, I got mine. I got real controllers later. And yeah, I don't even remember what I got for games with it. One thing I remember, I got Cool Spot, or Spot Goes to Hollywood, which was like a jump and run, like a platformer in like this weird angle, like Sonic 3D Blast. And there were some other games which try that. And I have like, you can have like 3D, even though it's not 3D, it's just like in an angle, and it doesn't work with a platformer because it's shit. But yeah, I had Spot Goes to Hollywood. That was funny. I don't know, it wasn't really good. And I mean, one of the games everybody should remember is, of course, Daytona! I mean, yeah, I don't remember anything about Daytona except the fucking song Daytona! But really, back then I didn't play a lot on Saturn. I didn't do a lot of it. The only really game that people always talk about is Panzer Dragoon Sagas, something like that. But first of all, I'm not really into RPGs, and second of all, if you want to pick it up now, dollar, holla, holla, holla. Now, it costs like fucking $500-600 or something, and I'm not willing to pay that. Sorry. But yeah, later I realized what the fucking Saturn was really good at. The Saturn was another fighting game console. Like, seriously. The main thing about the Saturn is not even that it got so many exclusives, but of course you had Virtua Fighter and all that jazz. But the main thing was that a lot of games that also came out on PlayStation had a less good port on PlayStation. The best ports came to the Saturn. I don't know why, but for example, I have Street Fighter the movie, the game. Definitely a joke game. I mean, I bought it for funsies. But the thing is this: I've heard that the PlayStation version has like a new engine, and the Sega Saturn version uses the engine of Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and they just put the fucking they just put the shitty graphics, the Mortal Kombat like graphics, they just put that over it. But the game still plays like a regular Street Fighter, and that's why it's good on Saturn. Whenever people talk about fighting games and Marvel superheroes and games like that, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, they usually talk about this. Of course, now these days you can just hop on Fightcade on the internet and play the arcade version. But anyway, back then this was the way to go, alright? So of course, after the Saturn, I wanted more. I wanted more games, and actually I wanted more Sega. Because again, I look back at the things I had never played as a kid. So obviously, as my friend was looking around more and more, for people who were selling consoles, some people really having like pretty damn good collections. And he actually found a guy who was selling a Virtual Boy, and I had no interest in the Virtual Boy. I mean, it's cool for collection, but still. Back then, I was focusing on getting the consoles I really wanted, and not buying shitty consoles just for the sake of having them. So, we went there, and he got his Virtual Boy, but I had my eyes on something else. And that else was a Mega Drive. Or like fucking Genesis for all you Americans. America. But yeah, no, that's a Mega Drive. It says fucking Mega Drive. There you go. Mega Drive. Like in Japan and Europe. It's a Mega Drive. Version 1. Yeah, they made version 2. I never actually have... I have 2 of these, but I don't have version 2. I don't know. I would like to have a 3, but I think those are rare. Anyhow, so I got the Mega Drive. And again, it was the Sega experience. But yeah, I got like a couple of Sonic games and Echo the Dolphin, and not really the great classics. We look back now, you know, I've never had Vector Man or Streets of Rage, but I got that later on like a compilation disc. So this thing kind of became obsolete with all the things that came out later. But anyway, I mean, back then I played it for a little bit. I really liked Sonic. Sonic's cool, and like I said, that was the first time I played 2D Sonic actually, after playing 3D Sonic. And I still like 3D Sonic better, sorry. But yeah, I also got like Fancy Star games, which I've never even tried out because I don't RPGs. And even especially old RPGs that take like 40 hours, 50 hours, or 100 hours. I don't got time for that, guys. I'm sorry. And I also got a 32X with it, which I don't even know where it is right now. I mean, I do kind of know where it is, but I kind of don't want to drag it out of the fucking hole where it's buried under right now because it's a 32X. I mean, I just got it with this thing. I don't even know if I had enough cables. Back then, I looked at it and I was like, "What the fuck is this? What is this even?" And he was like, "Don't worry about it. It's, you know, you get the whole collection. You get all my Sega stuff. So you get all my Mega Drive stuff. So I'm gonna give you that one." And it's like, I think he told me it was to play import games or something, which I don't think it's true. I don't think I know what the 32X does, but I don't think it kind of also has the option to play import games. And also he gave me the add-on to play Master System games. Another feature I haven't used because I don't have Master System games and I don't really care about it. But yeah, the Mega Drive had its fun games. I got like Mortal Kombat and the Turtles in Time, the other version, the not so good version, Rock and Roll Racing, the Jurassic Park game, and X-Men 2: Children of the Atom. That was tight. But yeah, looking back, coming from all the new games and kind of going back to this, it was meh. Quite frankly, I still prefer the Super Nintendo. The main problem with the Mega Drive is just the music is shit, man. For the most part, it's just sounds like fucking Atari or something. Okay, I don't want to take it too far, but just saying. I mean, it had good music. The Sonic games had good music. Sonic 3 was, you know, you heard that and you were like, wow, this thing can actually do this compared to all the other music you had, and which was trash and. And keeping it strong with the Segas, next console I got was the Dreamcast. So I got the Dreamcast really by surprise, pretty much. I wasn't really looking for it, but I had a friend who was, at the time, just like, "Hey, I heard you're a lot of it into collecting consoles and stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, why? I have a Dreamcast and I don't need it anymore and I don't want it anymore, so do you wanna have it for like, I don't know, not a lot, like $50 or so." Basically just getting rid of it, and I was like, "Sure, man, why not?" And that's how I got the Dreamcast. And now it's like one of the most beloved fucking consoles of all time. And back then it was just like, "Can I unload my trash in your house?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, I don't care." But yeah, damn, the Dreamcast. Man, probably out of all the Sega, no, not probably. Out of all the Sega consoles, the one I played absolutely the most. Because first of all, I finally could get my hands on Sonic Adventure 1. Because I played Sonic Adventure 2 on the GameCube, which was one of my launch games I bought, and I was hyped to play Sonic Adventure 1. It's kind of, I have the entire fucking Sonic timeline so ass backwards. I started with Sonic Adventure 2, then bought a fucking Mega Drive with like Sonic Adventure 1, not Adventure, Sonic 1 and 2, and I don't even know if I had 3 at the time, but anyway, and then I played Sonic Adventure 1, and that's it. I also played Sonic R somewhere in between there, but nobody cares about that. But yeah, other than that, I had a bunch of weird games with it, like, what was it, not Small Soldiers, something with soldiers, I don't know. It wasn't Arming, I don't even remember. He gave me some weird games with it, but I also had Crazy Taxi, so also some good games. But really over time, and also the Dreamcast was the console I bought the most games for at the time. Even though it had already died, it was already gone, no store was still having Dreamcast games, even though I still went looking for it. It was a good time. It was a good time because the stores might not have had it anymore, but there was a lot of internet stores, and that's where the internet really came in for me, because they were still just getting their Dreamcast stuff out back then, because the console was dead and everybody just wanted to get rid of the games. Not like these days, where it's just like a rarity and praise Dreamcast, everything. So now things are expensive, and I got lucky that I picked it up when I did. Here's also a big part of the history. My very first thing I ever bought on the internet was Soul Calibur for the Dreamcast. So yeah, first time ever buying something on the internet. That one was on eBay, ebay.de for Germany. And I think I paid like 20 or 25 euros for a mint in box, still in plastic, Soul Calibur. Ah, yeah. Ja, wunderbar. I don't know why I'm speaking German now. Well, I got it from Germany. Anyhow, I mean, I still played a lot on the Dreamcast, I gotta tell you. There were still always games I looked for and games I bought on the internet, or whenever I could find them here, I went in. They're like Mortal Kombat Gold, Marvel vs. Capcom, and of course there was a little game, I think you might have heard about it. It's like, what was it? Fight Street for Free Strikes or something. Fight Streets for Free Strikes. Yeah, that's the game. I think it's pretty good. That one I looked quite a bit for on the internet, and back then it was like, do I get Double Impact, or of course it's First Strike. I'm talking about First Strike. If you haven't caught on to it, fuck, Street Fighter First Strike is the one game. And it brings us back to what I told you about the Saturn. The Saturn was really great for fighting games. The Dreamcast, boy oh boy oh boy. Street Fighter First Strike, Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Plasma Sword, Power Stone, Power Stone 2, Garou, Mark of the Wolves, Private Project Justice, not Private Justice, fucking the rival schools. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, there's like, wasn't there also like a Mech Gundam or something game? I don't know, if you like fighting games and you don't have a Dreamcast, then what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Get one of those. But yeah, I mean, it brought all these exclusively to the Dreamcast. I mean, later it would make its way to PSP or PS2 or whatever, but I mean, First Strike was born in the arcades, but it was brought home by this thing. Overall, most played Sega console, to me personally, and honestly, also my favorite. I think there's going to be Thunderstorm, so I might want to hurry up. Alright, and finally we have the thing I've always been looking for this entire time while I had the Dreamcast and whatnot, and I don't know why it was so hard to find one. But of course, it's a Super Nintendo, the thing I always used to play at my friend's house. I never had my own, so that was like the one thing I always wanted. Even when I was getting these Sega consoles, I was always looking for a good Super Nintendo. Of course, at a reasonable price. But this one, again, just like the Dreamcast, someone at school was like, suddenly after years of already collecting consoles, somebody came just up and be like, oh, well, I heard you were looking for a Super Nintendo. Yeah, we've been in the same class for like 2 years or so, and now you're telling me? Oh my god, people. I love it. It's one of the best consoles of all time. You've probably heard that one before as well, but the Super Nintendo is just so good. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I thought the Mega Drive wasn't that great, because I played this thing growing up, and I played this thing as a grown-up, and I still play this game, the thing, today. Like right now I could, but it's not hooked in and everything, but maybe later. You don't know. You can't tell. You will never. Well, if I stream it, you would know. Anyway, whatever. Just Super Nintendo. Yeah. Yeah. Perfection. Perfection in graphics, music, making probably no. It has the best 2D Mario game, which is Super Mario World. Fuck Super Mario Bros. 3. No, World was better. World is better. Believe it. Naruto, fuck off. I don't know what. I'm losing my goddamn mind. But yeah, Super Mario World, F-Zero, Star Wing or Star Fox. It was called Star Wing in Europe, I think, for whatever reason. Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, yeah, you get it. Killer Instinct, Super Castlevania 4, Metroid, basically Super Metroid, Clay Fighter. Oh yeah, right, Clay Fighter. And man, a little game called Turtles in Time. Did you know I was a Turtles fan? Because I am. And Turtles in Time is one of the best games of all time. And I get it. Some of these games I just mentioned, like Street Fighter, also came on Mega Drive. So I don't want to start a fucking 25-year-old war. I don't know how long it's been, but yeah, fuck it. I like Super Nintendo better. And that's just it. And yeah, I mean, I could keep talking about this for 5 hours, but I don't want to have a 5-hour video. So I'm gonna end it here. Done with these retros. I still have 2 more. I still have 2 more retro consoles I want to talk about, but they will have their own videos. One is not so important to me, and the other one has been a quest. I will talk to you about the Amiga CD32, which is whatever. But I will also talk to you about an almost 10-year-long quest. My most prized possession, my most prized console possession in my entire collection, something I've been looking for a long time. And that's why I'm going to dedicate the next episode, the next special, to the Neo Geo and the Amiga CD, which I'm just gonna... The classic gems or whatever, the more classic rarities. In the next episode, here you've seen the other ones. And I mean, that's just it. As usual, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy the series, again, I appreciate your support with a thumbs up maybe, or if you want to. And don't forget, if you want to see more about 30 Years of Pain or figure reviews, which I've been bringing back now, whee, rejoice, and also more gameplay stuff, you might want to subscribe to the channel. I don't know. I would like it. It will be fun. I would be your friend. That's so weird. Okay, I'm gonna go now because this girl is way too crazy, and there's like clouds back there, and I think there's gonna be thunderstorm. That's not a story. Thunderstorm once fucking fried all my shit up here. Well, most of my shit, computer and stuff. But yeah, totally different story. Has nothing to do with the retro consoles. Goodbye.